Okay, I know I took a couple extra days here, but I was compiling some information, and we'll go over that in a minute with the elephant in the room here. But first, I wanted to talk about this journey that we started together, and I'm hoping that you guys got some good information out of this, and maybe you got a little extra energy, or maybe like the Tin Man with the oil can, maybe your joints feel a little bit better, and or maybe you just have less brain fog. I know I normally work with people over a period of 6 weeks, and we're doing this in 10 days, but still you can sometimes feel it even after just 3 days of knocking the bad stuff out of your diet and putting all that good stuff. So hopefully that's what's happening. And as moving forward, I kind of had somebody mention that maybe what we could do is learn how to take all those yummy comfort foods that we just love to have, and maybe learn how to make them healthier. So I am definitely game for that. That's something that I do all the time. And so, yeah, let's do that. So maybe once a week I'll put something together, and if anybody has any questions, those of you who know me, you can call me, and those of you who don't know me, just put a question down here and I'll answer anything, okay? All right, so let's talk about, since we started this journey with this whole like trying to flatten the curve with eating nutritious food like T. Colin Campbell suggested, I thought we might go down that road, just because literally, guys, once I started researching, when sitting at my table with nothing else to do, and I started researching like what the heck even COVID was, or coronavirus, which, by the way, coronavirus is, the name comes from, you know, that little picture of that virus we see. Well, when you look at it in a microscope, it looks like a crown, so coronavirus. Anyways, so as I sat at my table, and started looking at things, and actually, guys, this was the very first thing. I don't know if you could see, but these were the very, you could even see my doodles. But anyways, these were the very first thing as I sat at the table when we were put on quarantine, and I knew nothing about any of this stuff. And so literally a whole world started opening up that I knew nothing about. And I'm sure you guys were in the exact same boat as me. And literally, as I pulled the cork off of that bottle and literally learned about these viruses, and actually I'm going to read you a couple of these things. So this is kind of what I like at the very beginning. It was the 1918 pandemic, okay, the Spanish Influenza, which, by the way, didn't start in Spain. Look it up. It started in a little town in Kansas called Haskell, and it was in January of 1918, right before a bunch of guys in the army who were 300 miles north in a camp called Funston were about to leave. And it started in this little town. Within a month, it traveled up to Funston, infected all them. They hopped on big boats, went across to fight in World War I, and literally infected Europe and Asia and right around over to Spain, where the media finally caught up and named it the Spanish flu. Not fair, but that's the way it went down. But anyways, didn't know any of that. So many people. I mean, it's ridiculous, the numbers, and I've got them back here, but like 500 million deaths. 675,000 here in America alone. Then in 1957 and 58, there was an avian influenza. It was the, by the way, the 1918 was H1N1, and if you want to know what the H's stand for and the N's stand for, I can explain that all to you. Just let me know in the comments below. But that H is the points on those little viruses that you see, and they attach to ACE2 receptors in your lungs and nasal passages and blah, 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 blah. But you know what? If you guys want to know any of that stuff, please contact me, and I would love to explain it to you, and also kind of some reasons why some of the high-risk groups are more, it's more receptive to it. But we'll go through that. We'll too much information at this point. But anyways, so then I learned of the 2004 H5N1, which we'll talk about that in a moment, and the 2009 H1N1 that came back. That was the influenza one, H1N1, which at the time they didn't know what it was. It was a bird, but we'll get into that. But so anyways, as I started opening up, like, I was learning more and more about these pandemics and how many there were, and it just kind of boggled my mind, you know. And then Michael Greger, our own nutritionfacts.com or .org guy, a video ended up on my phone, and it was a video from 2008. That's 12 years ago, guys. And he was talking about a virus that could hit us here in America, and that it will take the store shelves, and toilet paper won't be able to be found, and bottled water will be gone, and people will be quarantined and for 90 days at a time, and then they'll be let off, and then they'll be quarantined again. He discussed this in detail. As I listened to what he had to say, fear came over me. Then anger came over me. Then resolve came over me. And then I realized, I'm not going to sit here. I'm going to take action, because no problems in your life ever get resolved from just sitting there and doing nothing, right? So anyways, let me kind of explain to you a couple things as to what I found. And I know this is kind of hard to see, and believe me, I don't have a lot of techie skills here. So maybe if I turn this around, I don't even know if I can turn it around. I can't turn it around. So I'm gonna have to do it this way. But anyways, guys, what I found, I don't know how well you can see this. Maybe if I turn this on, I don't even know if that'll help. But anyways, what I found is, I don't know if you're gonna be able to see this, but anyways, this is 10,000 years, okay? 10,000 years of all the different pandemics that I found, okay? Starting back at 8,000 BC, okay? Measles came onto the scene. 200 million people died, okay? That's 10,000 years ago. Then smallpox, 300 million people died. That was 1100 BC. Then we jump to the 16th century, where whooping cough and pertussis came into the scene, and over 160,000 people every year die of this. Then we finally jump all the way from there to the 19th century, okay? So here we've got typhoid fever, Spanish flu. This is the big one, guys. This was 2% of the population that got the Spanish flu died. And let me tell you guys, the stories that Michael Greger told would keep you up at night, talking about how parents were dying in their living rooms, and literally children were orphaned instantly, and crawling around the streets trying to find food in the garbage. I want to say, I'd have to look up the numbers, but the number of orphans were in the hundreds of thousands, okay? So there were so many kids that were left without parents. So then the swine flu, and guess where that started? Right in Iowa, okay? So swine flu, but that started in pigs in 1931. It didn't hit humans until 1976, okay? But anyways, I don't know if you can see this, but I started writing all of these dates down, okay? All of a sudden, you guys, I couldn't fit them anymore. I had to start writing them on their sides. Can you see how many different viruses have been unleashed in just the past 30 years? I mean, I won't go through each and every one. If you want, we could go over that, but I don't even know if you could see that. I'm really sorry if you couldn't. But my point is, what happened? What the heck happened 30 years ago? Why is there all of a sudden this insurgence of these viruses that are killing us What the heck happened? So Michael Greger started to discuss it. And as he was saying it, it was crystal clear as to what the heck is going on. So as he talked about, I'll point to it, but I know you probably can't see it, but as he talked about the measles, that came from a mutation from cattle and dairy cows and sheep and buffalo, okay? Smallpox came from camels. The common cold came from horses. Whooping cough, pigs. The Spanish flu was chickens and ducks. And if you see these pictures of these GIs holding ducks and chickens by their feet this is what they're going to eat. I mean, it's so sad to think that they were just this whole thing started from these animals. HIV is monkeys and chimps. Avian flu, chickens, turkeys, bats, civet cats. SARS was pigs. MERS is camels. That's the Middle East one. Ebola, monkeys and apes. And H7N9, that's poultry, that's chickens, that's turkeys, that's ducks. And our own coronavirus, bats and a little animal called pangolin. It kind of looks like an armadillo. It's adorable. But anyways, all these viruses, guys, once I started really thinking about it and then listening to Michael Greger, they all started from us eating animals. Eating animals has unleashed these pandemics over and over and over again. And the reason why it's hitting us so hard now, the reason why we're being literally, and nobody's talking about it, is because of the meat production. This shows meat consumption from 1961 to today. The meat production has gone up exponentially. It literally is. People are eating meat for breakfast, for lunch, for snacks, for dinner. They're being told that you have to get your protein from meat, and they're doing what they're told, but they're also contributing to the very thing that's threatening the lives of not only us, but our children and their children and their children. This virus that we're currently stuck with, COVID-19, this virus, according to Michael Greger, is dress rehearsal for the next one coming down the pipeline. He said that this one currently is affecting 0.5, I'm not saying, I said affecting, killing 0.5% of the people who get it, okay? And those numbers have gone back and forth. We've heard all different ones, but this is what he was saying. The one that they're concerned about that right now is in every single chicken house and hen house and egg laying production, every single one, this H5N1 virus. It literally is a ticking time bomb waiting to get all of the codes together to be unleashed, okay? This H5N1, and I know you can't see it on here, but I have written it here in green. So you can see it first started in 1997. Okay, that's when it hatched, okay? In 1997 it hatched, and they found it in birds. Then they knew, holy crud, this is a bad one. We're gonna kill all these birds. They killed over almost 2 million birds to stop this to being unleashed, okay? Within that year, it infected a human, okay? It has now, let's see how many times I have it written here. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15, and even in 19, 16 times it has been unleashed. But here's the thing, instead of 0.5% of the people dying, you guys, it's 40 to 68% of the people die who get it. No longer is it an elderly thing or an immune compromised thing. It is whoever gets it, it's a coin toss if you die or not. Okay, so you're like, oh, Eileen, all this great news. Wow, thank you. Thank you for ending our 10 days on this, right? Here's the thing, guys. Like anything else, if you've got a problem, the second step is to find a solution. You gotta understand the problem. And we now understand the problem. I even have on here how many times mad cow disease has been unleashed. I thought that was over. And not only is it not over, but it was in California. It was in, let's see, where has it been? So in 2012, it was found in dairy cattle in California. And 2006, it was in cattle in Alabama. 2005, it was in cattle in Texas. 2000 and I don't have my glasses on, but I think it's either 16, 17, or 18. Cattle in Florida. Okay, or cows in Florida. I'm not sure what's the difference between a cow and a cattle, but anyways, it was found. So my point is, anytime there's a problem, we have to understand it, we have to research it, we have to not ignore it, and then the second part is find a solution. There's an easy solution here, guys. And I think you all know it by now over these past 10 days. Never thought that this would be a solution to something ever like this. I always looked at this solution for people with health problems, but now I'm seeing it for a solution so that our kids can have the life that we had, that when they will be able to go outside and play this summer and be able to touch their friends and not worry about wearing a mask wherever they go, or not even being allowed in a grocery store, or not being able to see their grandparents. Nothing breaks my heart more than seeing grandparents pull up in front of my neighbors' houses and not be able to touch the kids. The kids are confused. Everybody's confused. How are they going to move forward in a world that nobody can touch them? You know, it's horrific. I mean, their grandparents want to hold them as they should, and their aunts and their uncles. We're not able to see our family. I have family dinner here once a month. Nobody's been able to come. It just breaks my heart. We're going to change that. We're going to freaking change that, because here's what we're gonna do. Let's go around this. Nobody's talking about the elephant in the room. What's causing this? It's eating meat. It's eating meat. That's all it is. All we have to do is hold each other's hands and help each other to learn a new way of eating that literally can not only change the fact that we can stop the hatching of these viruses and these viruses sheds that are all over the world now, but we can also, in the process, because there won't be these sheds, the rivers will clear up that from all the waste that gets drained off the properties and into the rivers that are right by their homes, that travel down to the oceans. The fish will come back. The oceans will clear. The reefs will grow back. The rainforest will grow back, because right now they're cutting them down to put more and more meat on it and more corn and soy to feed these poor animals, which don't even eat that. Literally, guys, by changing our diet, we can change the way the world heals. So my solution is to really, guys, think about what's on your plate. Look at your kids. Look at your grandkids. Make a pact. Say, I'm not going to do this anymore. I'm not going to ruin the earth. I'm not going to ruin their lives, because I need to have that piece of flesh. Really? We can change and we can help each other. And the other thing, we've got to stop pointing our fingers at China. That whole saying of every time you point your finger, look at the other three that are pointing back at me, right? So, guys, we need to be holding hands with China. We need to be holding hands with Europe. We need to be holding hands with each other. We need to help each other to change, to move forward, and hopefully change the trajectory of what the path we're currently on. And let's do it for our kids, and let's do it for our grandkids. And let's get back to hugging and holding and not wearing masks and literally bringing beauty back to the world. In all of that, in the hugs and the holds and the kisses and the eating together and the seeing each other smile again without pieces of cloth over our faces. My action, and will be my action until I see a change, is meat-free means pandemic-free. And I'd love to be able to do this by 2023. I'm gonna work my ass off on this, guys, and I pray that some of you join me in this mission. I love you guys, and I'm thankful for this journey, and may you all be watched over and be safe. And if you've lost anybody, my heart is with you. Moving forward, I pray we don't lose any more. My love to you all. Happy Cinco de Mayo. Oh, I was gonna show you how to make a margarita, but I think I've gotten way too long. If you want the recipe, I'll do another video sometime. Okay, I love you guys. Be well.